Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 EX automatic diesel. As you can see here, 2013 car, finished in silver with a full black leather interior. This particular car has done 98,000 miles, which is hard to believe given the condition it's in. It is in absolutely stunning condition throughout. To come around the car for you, front of the car, lights and lenses completely clear and intact, front bumper really clean, only the odd tiny little mark, and the same applies for the bonnet, which again is taking its mileage incredibly well. Hardly a stone chip of any great note on there. Near side, absolutely mirror smooth in the panel work. Near side front alloy, completely unmarked. And the panels on this side, just stunningly clean. Near side rear alloy, again, incredibly clean for the mileage it's done. Looking around the back of the car, bumper corners, no sort of entry marks going into the back of the car. And bumper corner again on the offside panels, again just mirror smooth. It genuinely is like a car that's done a sort of a fifth of the miles in terms of its condition. Offside rear alloy, again nothing on there at all. Range of panel work, absolutely beautiful. And then finally, offside front alloy, again really good, but just the tiniest marks right on the outside edge. But externally, as I said, it'd be hard to find one in better condition with half the mileage on the car. So coming to the back of the car now, absolutely enormous boots on the car, quick drop rear seats, and the interior, again, it's got a dog guard here, but there's hardly any evidence of a dog ever been in the car because it's so clean and there's no smells at all. So it may have had one, but it doesn't show. It's coming to the back of the car now, big wide opening rear doors, virtually to 90 degrees. Leg room, almost as if it's a limousine. It's absolutely unbelievable. And those front seats, except for me, and I'm over 6 foot tall. Back of the CR-V, like any family car, is its Achilles heel because that's where the kids go. And this one looks as though it's hardly ever had a kid sat in the back because it's in absolutely amazing condition. So coming to the front passenger side, door card, as with all of them, is in lovely condition. Footwell areas, absolutely clean. And front passenger seat there, again, in absolutely stunning condition. Driver's door card, the final one there, again, absolutely lovely and clean. Footwell areas, very clean and tidy. Full set of original Honda mats in the car. And driver's seat, the one that takes all the wear, and there's hardly anything of any note on there at all. So inside the car now, engine's running for this section, so the dash can be seen illuminated as I do in all our videos. Dashboard looks absolutely as new, incredible. Sat nav, you can see there working perfectly. Pop the car into reverse, get the lovely clear gridded parking camera. Dual zone climate control system, all working absolutely perfectly. It really is in quite exquisite condition in here. Even the little recesses where I've got my keys currently in there. Coming to the dashboard binnacle, 98,948 miles. No warning lights on the vehicle at all whilst the engine's running. Steering wheel looks and feels absolutely as new in hand. It really is quite a reflection of how the last owners had looked after this car, because it is amazing. Owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. So finally, just come under another beautifully presented engine bay, as is always the case with Honda. Absolutely superb engines in every way, these. Right then, so a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 EX diesel. Obviously an automatic car, as you can see. This particular car is registered BN13RZO, and mileage at the start of the road test is 98,942 miles. The reason for doing these videos, as I say in all of them, very simply, is so that if anyone's looking at the car online in an advert, they actually get to see this very car in operation, which we feel is very important. We know to our costs just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look great in a description and in an advert, and in pictures rather, only to get there and drive it to find out it's got a fundamental fault which manifests itself on test drive. So hence that's why we do it. We also do it on part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on. Hopefully then it will be representative of what you'd feel yourself if offered a test drive in the car. Very well looked after car, immediately obvious from the way it drives, because it doesn't feel like it's done the miles it's done, which they rarely do in all honesty. They're so well engineered. But shut your eyes, you could be in a car that's done a third of the mileage. It just feels incredibly tight to drive. Engine starts absolutely instantly, of course, and settles to a completely smooth and even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car for that matter. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car. And the car's been running for nearly 2 hours now, so clearly up to full operating temperature. The engines are just wonderful units. I've always said it. It's pretty much the perfect diesel. It's smooth, it's quiet on the move. Being a Honda, they're incredibly tough and long-lasting with regular maintenance, and very reliable in operation as well. What I've always loved about them is they're not the kind of one-trick ponies that you get with so many diesels, where you get a great woomph of power and torque and then it just dies away very quickly. These, you put your foot down and it gives you a really lovely, smooth, linear, I'm just keeping my foot down for the sake of it now, it's the same power and surge all the way through the rev range. It's brilliantly done. Engine feeds into this automatic gearbox, which is a typical Honda box, very slick and smooth shifting. Originated actually in the old Honda Legend, because Honda didn't have a gearbox that was man enough to take the torque of this particular diesel engine at the time many years ago. So it's kind of overkill engineering wise, which is a good thing. And I love the gearbox in these things. It's very smooth shifting. You do have these paddles if you want to use them. You can change gear, just pull the tab down, it does it for you manually and changes back to automatic very quickly thereafter. They hardly ever get used in all honesty, mostly if you're going to do an overtaking manoeuvre and just want to hold it in the gear for that little bit longer perhaps. Gear shifts should, on all gearboxes, whether it be one as good as this, they should be slick, they should be smooth, and they should engage into drive and reverse without any great thumps or clunks, and there's nothing at all. As I said, it just feels like I'm driving a new one in terms of the powertrain of the car. Steering of the car, always been a good thing on the CR-Vs of this vintage. It's nicely weighted, track's absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at all coming back through the steering wheel at this speed, or any speed up to the legal limit. But it's just a really nice power steering system because it makes the car feel nice and solid on the road and sort of heavy almost. But what it gives you is very precise steering actually for a car this type. It's very, very car-like in that sense. You've got quite a nice small diameter steering wheel to sort of add to that sensation as well. And again, it feels zero wear through the power steering system. Chassis of the vehicle, which matches this steering really nicely because it flows through corners really nicely without pretending to be a sports car, of course. But what it's really good at, where some SUVs aren't that good at, is when you go through the corners, you don't get lots of body movement. It holds its body control brilliantly for a car this type, which is really important for backseat passengers. So going through corners a bit quicker than I would do normally now, you just don't get that swaying effect in these in anything like the same way that you get in some competitors' cars. I also can't hear any kind of mechanical noises coming from underneath the vehicle, all very smooth and quiet underneath the car. Coming to the brakes of the vehicle, just wait till I get around the corner a fraction. Did try them earlier, I know they're good, but it's just for the video. But if I give them a thump, it's a really solid brake pedal on the car, particularly important on an automatic, of course, because it's doing a lot more of the work. But there's no pulsing vibrations at all coming through the brake pedal of the vehicle, and they feel that's superb. Coming to the interior, not touched it yet, it's not been cleaned. It's very, very clean in here, it hardly needs anything at all. It's, again, as with the drive of the car, it belies the mileage the car's done, but it's just such a lovely dashboard to sit behind because it's very, very highly equipped car, but it doesn't faze you at all when you get in. It's also beautifully built because there's, again, it's hard to believe it's done the miles, because there's not a hint of a squeak or a rattle from the interior of the car. It really is in very, very nice condition in here. But the dash is all working perfectly. Sat nav, as you can see, air conditioning's pumping out absolutely ice cold air, and it's a particularly muggy day today, so it's a good test for it. All the switches, even with the mileage of the car, still have exactly the same high quality feel and actuation to them it did when it was new, which is testament to the build of these things. Dashboard itself is simple, easy, legible to take the information in. Steering wheel pretty much looks and feels like new in hand, actually, and it's obviously got a plethora of buttons to control the cruise control, your radio, hands-free system and information display system, but again very easily mastered after a week or two's driving. But everything's working exactly as it should. They are four-wheel drive vehicles, although Honda knew straight away that the vast majority of people would be driving in perfectly good conditions like I am today, so it basically runs in front-wheel drive the whole time, two-wheel drive, unless it actually needs to go into four-wheel drive, and then it does it for you. There's no buttons to press. It basically is completely automatic, and it's brilliant in the way it works, because I've had umpteen of these cars now using the same system, and I tow a sort of fairly hefty caravan, and I've never come close to getting stuck. And the beauty of it, of course, is the fact that by not being in four-wheel drive the whole time, you're not using up tyres, fuel, and putting mechanical stress to the vehicle. So, you know, it also gives it its inherent reliability, because we've not so much just put a spanner on one in nearly 20 years selling cars using this system. As I said at the start of the video, you know, the point of it is just to pick up on any issues, and to be fair, most of our cars are just going to let ducklings go across the road. Mother wouldn't be happy if I did anything. Most of our cars are much lower mileage than this, but you know, there was no reason not to buy this because of the way it's been looked after and how it drove. It drives as well as any low mileage car you could ever want to drive, and it just feels as tight as a drum. It really does. Any questions at all, you know, as always, don't hesitate, do give us a call.